Hello, my digital children. Your father has brought you a new swatching video. I love to be able to feature indie brands on my platform, and today I have a new collection for you from Prism Parade.
Mayhem!
Prism Parade. They sent me their newest collection called Digital Dystopia that was released recently. I was gonna make a swatching video for launch day, but it was my husband's birthday, so I was a little busy. And enough rambling, let's get into the swatching.
And before I actually start, it's time to beg y'all to subscribe. During my plea, I present to you some B-roll of a family walk. Use this time to press the subscribe button, because only 20% of my watch time is from people who are subscribed, so consider joining the Nail family. There are lots of failed attempts to get Titan to pay attention to the camera during this walk, so you have lots of time to press the subscribe button. I'll wait. I swatched all of these over Peely Base by Holo Taco and Getting Even Nail Primer by Mooncat to fight my stained nails. First up is Neon Arcade. Neon Arcade is described as a hot pink lacquer filled with a supercharged blue Aurora shimmer. And hot pink is right. I'm not a big fan of pinks in general, but I know the vibrancy of this polish will be appreciated by those who are fans. I found it to have pretty good coverage in 2 coats, but some visible nail lines, so I did add a 3rd coat for full opacity. Next up is Neuromancer, which is a gray lacquer that has a dusty dark purple appearance. According to the brand, this is due to a pink shimmer in the base, which I found to be so fine, it almost looks like there isn't a shimmer at all. It gives this polish this soft and fluffy look on the nail. While it was super sheer, I was able to build it up to full opacity in 3 fairly thick coats. And next we have Ghost in the Machine. Ghost in the Machine is a dark magnetic polish that can shift from gold to fuchsia to green depending on the angle. To make a magnetic polish easier to work with, I built it up to nearly full opacity first before using the magnetic wand. This polish took 2 coats to get there, and before the magnet is applied, it looked like a maroon-green multichrome. With the magnet, the maroon is pulled inwards into a fuchsia cat eye while the green-gold multichrome is left behind. And while this hack is far easier than using a magnet for every single coat, it does lose a little bit of the depth in the darker regions. And my last magnetic hack is you always need to leave your finger on the magnet when applying a top coat, as the top coat frees the magnetic pigment to disperse and will dull the cat eye effect you work so hard to make. Rounding out the first half, we have Cybernetic, which is a chunky, holographic, flaky topper. As you can see, these flakes are large and relatively sparse for a topper. I think that some people might find this as a problem, but I think it makes it a more versatile polish because you get to choose how dense the effect is. In fact, I used this for an icy combo recently, so check out that short if you haven't seen it already. One thing to note though is that because the flakes are large, they do stick out a little and might need a gentle tap to flatten it onto the nail. While a little gross, my hack is to use a little bit of saliva on your finger and ever so gingerly tap the flake back into place. Using a liquid that doesn't mix with nail polish allows you to adjust things while the polish is in its gel-like consistency without picking up and ruining the manicure. I use this hack to fix my nails anytime I bonk things to flatten the dent before another coat of polish to hide it. See if you can see the dent I fixed in Neuromancer in the macro shot. And finally, I use Cybernetic over black, which is how Holo truly shines. Especially now you can see how varied the flake size is in the polish. And here's the first 4 shades. First of all, I would like to thank my dirty camera lens for this gorgeous lens flare because these vibes are immaculate. As for the polishes, my absolute standout is Cybernetic. It's the perfect flaky hollow topper for me because the shape of the flakes really gave a broken CD, which I personally identify with. And before we move on, you know what time it is. It's time for What's on My Other Hand. Today I'm wearing Secret Society by Holo Taco topped with Wizard Lizard by Coloris de Carol. Secret Society is a grayish jelly polish with a golden shimmer, and Wizard Lizard is a topper made out of orange to green iridescent circular glitters. I always love a good combination, and this one satisfies my inner sad boy who also likes to have a little bit of fun. On to the next set, we are starting with Android Dreams, which is described as a semi-sheer white lacquer filled with a blue shimmer and a touch of tiny holographic glitter. At the start, the polish looks super thin, but low-key slaps in one coat over pink smoothing base. This is what I think of when I hear the word demure because it's just so minimal and gorgeous. And I feel like this was probably how it was intended because I knew it would never be fully opaque right here, but I tried anyways. I went up to 4 coats before I gave up and still had some pretty significant visible nail line. I know this is a vibe for some people, but I don't love visible nail line because it always looks unintentional to me. That said, this one looked the best when it was in its first coat and made this white, gray, blue, icy haze over my nail, and that is how I would recommend wearing it. Moving on, we have Electric Horizon. Electric Horizon is a bright blue base lacquer with a super glowy green shimmer. Honestly, I was pretty surprised by the coverage on this, as usually you need something on more of the sheer side to produce a glow like this. And glow she does, as this is the color I think of when I think of holograms, so I think they nailed it here. This has pretty decent coverage in 2 coats, but I did a third to make sure I sealed the edges well, and honestly, this one was just a slay. Next up, we have Lucid Scream, and let me tell you, I'm screaming for this one. Lucid Scream is a violet-based polish with dual blue shimmer pigments. My first thought with this was, hello, House of Hades, is that you? I don't know if you know House of Hades, but that's the bluest blue polish ever that I'm going to show during some of the comparisons. And spoiler alert, this one is like House of Hades' twin sister who has a dyeing her hair purple phase. Like House of Hades, it's thin, but that's needed to get the depth that it has. I found it pretty good in 3 coats, but I did do a 4th coat to seal the edges, and ugh, I loved her. Finally, we have Urban Wasteland. Urban Wasteland is a super interesting color because it has a turquoise base with pinkish red shimmer and holographic glitters. And she was not necessarily my favorite, but I appreciated how unique she was. The combination of the cool base with the warm shimmer is a nice touch, as I love when the opposite sides of the color wheel play with each other. It is interesting how much the red shimmer comes out on the black brush, but not necessarily on the nails unless it's in indirect lighting. This one was mostly good in 2 coats, but I did a third to make sure I didn't miss any spots. And here's the last 4 colors in the collection. Once again, I'm thanking every single weather god out there, as the sun only came out during the macro shots on the day I was filming. And no shocker, but Lucid Scream is the standout here. It has a gorgeous glow whether in direct sunlight or shade, and it definitely looks more purple in the sun than in the bottle, but I'm really not mad at that because it's overall a stunning color. Putting everything together, I like the color story of this collection as I see how it fits the theme, but also falls in line with other collections that have come out during the season, but has a unique take by having more impactful and bright colors.
So now that you've seen the whole collection, let me know what your thoughts are down below, and let's get on to some comparisons.
First up is Neon Arcade, which I compared to my most neon pinks and then added a blue shimmer over it. And while they aren't a match, they did surprisingly layer better than expected to make a somewhat similar vibe. As I said before, I don't have many pinks as I tended to stash them to my friends who will get a greater use out of them. The closest one that I had was Intergalactic Planetarium by Victorian Varnish. I asked my friend to send a swatch photo for this video, and you can see it has a similar neon pink base with blue shimmer, but it also has some texture with flakies. Moving on, I compared Neuromancer to Stellar Sunset by CX Polish. And before you yell at me that they look nothing alike on the nail, I swear they look similar in the bottle. Sure, Stellar Sunset has reflective glitters, and sure, it shifts yellow while Neuromancer shifts gray, but they're still similar, right? Okay, fine, they're not really that close, but hey, gotta feed the children nail content. Ghost in the Machine was compared to Tannins in the Leaves by Death Valley Nails. Both are warm brown magnetic polishes that have a red, gold, maybe green vibe, but are multi-chromes with slightly different center colors of the shift. Ghost in the Machine leans more fuchsia, while Tannins in the Leaves leans more maroon. And once again, I know the swatches don't look similar from this view, but from a more extreme angle, they shift to nearly the same color. So give me that at least. I'm trying, alright? Cybernetic was compared to my OG Flaky Hollow Taco and Magic Pixie Dust by Coloris de Carol. My OG Flaky Hollow Taco is from their launch collection, so over time it's broken up a bit and looks a little bit closer to a linear hollow with some extra little flakes in it. Magic Pixie Dust is a little closer, but it's truly a hollow glitter polish instead of a hollow flaky polish. I know these don't really match that well, but it was just an excuse to show off this beautiful, scrumptious, delicious, out of focus hollow glitter. Oh, sorry, on to the next one. Next up is Android Dreams, which was compared to Swansong. And at first I thought these were clear dupes, but Swansong is more white and opaque, which is why the yellowy opposite color of the blue glitters shows more, as it has this ghostly bone tone. When I went to hang the swatch sticks to dry, I noticed the shimmer pulls different colors in extreme lighting. Android Dreams stayed blue, but Swansong, which I always thought of as a white-blue polish, was super purple from this angle. Moving on, we have Electric Horizon, which was compared to Wireless Mode. Now these two are so similar as they have nearly the exact same tone, but ever so slightly different multi-chrome directions. Wireless Mode shifts pink at the edges of the bottle, while Electric Horizon shifts green. And while on the nail, they're nearly identical, but I wouldn't call it an exact dupe, maybe super similar. And now on to Lucid Scream, which I compared to House of Hades by Mooncat. As I said before, these two are nearly similar. In the bottle, Lucid Scream's is ever so slightly darker, likely due to the slight purple base pigment. On the nail, you can see that the pigment at House of Hades is slightly larger, making it shinier than Lucid Scream. At more extreme angles, the purple aspect of Lucid Scream shows up a little bit more. So once again, not an exact dupe, but a great complement to House of Hades. And finally, we have Urban Wasteland, which I decided to compare to the Price's Alexandrite by Hollow Taco. Now, be nice to me, but I decided to make this comparison because in the bottle they have a single moment where these two polishes shift to the same color. Unfortunately, they're at randomly different angles in their shift, so they only slightly resemble each other. Look, I was tired, so let's all just pretend that this is an amazing, awesome comparison, and I'm just so good at this.
And since some of these polishes are buildable and feature a shimmer, I want to try these over black to see how they perform. Let's get into that.
Over black, Neon Arcade shook me because it looks so close to House of Hades and Lucid Screams that I had to grab them for a comparison. Android Dreams look similar over black, but because of the white base, it picked up this ghostly tone. Electric Horizon was wild because this is when I found out that there was a green shimmer hiding inside of it all along. Lucid Scream looked like this gorgeous deep sapphire, and Urban Wasteland was a pretty deep garnet color. Like, gosh darn it, these work nice over black. One of my favorite things about Prism Parade is that these polishes are magical over black, and this collection did not disappoint.
And to wrap things up, my two favorites have to be Lucid Scream and Cybernetic. I love how bold and bright Lucid Scream is, and as for Cybernetic, I love how big the hollow flakes are, as it stands out against other hollow flake polishes in my collection. So don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below which one's your favorite from the collection. Let me know if there's any other indie brands you want me to review in the future, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye!